Hello, welcome to Dream Team Scout. This is your boy Tage for Game Week 9 tips on the Sun Dream Team Fantasy. Game Week 8 saw me score a point of 158, which was short of the overall average this game week, which was between 160 to 190. So I just fell short by 2 points, but wasn't the best of weeks, but it is what it is, and we move on. I'll be speaking about my team at the end of the episode, so stay tuned for that. But yes, I wouldn't waste too much time on this game week. We'll be focusing on teams that I feel could be the teams that you want to pick your players from, and I'll be going through through the teams more or less. So the first team would be Arsenal, and the players that come in mind would be Uran Timber and Gabriel Magalhaes. Uran Timber is 5.3, Magalhaes is 5.2. Magalhaes has got one more point than Timber. He outscored Timber this game week by he scored 29. Timber scored 17. And right now Arsenal have kept 4 clean sheets in a row, and Arsenal have kept 9 clean sheets in 11 games, and both players minimum should be getting a price increase of 200k. Magalhaes maybe 300k, most definitely. So I will say those are the pros of bringing in Arsenal players. The cons would be Arsenal are facing Palace and Brighton, both are home. Mateta is in fine form, scored a hat trick last game week. And Palace and Brighton have scored in the last 5 games. So prior to the game this evening against AEK. So both players might face rotation for the Brighton League Cup game, so just bear that in mind if you are going to bring them. Timber's got ownership of 24.8, so he is looking like a real favorite, and Magalhaes just half of that on 11.1 ownership. If you are going to bring these players, I would say buy and hold. Both players are in top form. Alternatively, you could bring a Calafiori for 4.2 million, who is actually sharing points with Miles Lewis Skelly, and scoring only 7 points this game week by not playing against Atletico midweek. Arsenal have got some good games, some good fixtures ahead, so it's worth knowing that more clean sheets lie ahead, and I think right now everyone pretty much will be doubling up on the Arsenal defenders. Now, in Arsenal midfield, I would say Bukayo Saka, 6.3, should be going up by 100k. He no goals this game week, but he got a bonus of 8 points. He's the first choice penalty taker. Palace and Brighton have conceded 4 out of their last 5 games. And historically, Arsenal have scored an average of 3 goals v Palace. So that definitely gives Saka a fighting chance to actually get in the goals and, get one. And Palace conceded 3 goals versus Bournemouth this last game week, and tonight they've also lost the game to AEK, so by also conceding as well. The cons to that is that although I know Palace have not kept a clean sheet in a while, they have got the third best defense in the league, and probably Saka's likely not to start the League Cup game. He's got ownership of 12.5%, so that means his ownership is increasing. But I think with that stats, people have deemed him a bit expensive. If you are going to bring him, like I said, buy and hold. Arsenal got great fixtures ahead, or you could stick with Eze, who's much cheaper at 5.2, and got a return of 9 points this game week. On the up top would be Victor GYOKERES. It's 5.4 million. I know he started off on 6 million in the game, but it's been in very bad form. But this game week he scored 2 goals, he scored 21 points, and he scored a total of 6 to 7. And just to what would sort of aid you if you were going to pick in a Victor GYOKERES would be Palace and Brighton have conceded in 4 out of the last 5 games, like I said. And I did mention the stats with about historically Arsenal have averaged 3 goals, so and yeah, it's worth considering GYOKERES. Although the cons to bringing him is that prior to this game week he had blanked in the last 4 game weeks, so that is something that you want to bear in mind. However, he's got ownership of 22.3, so that shows you that most people still believe in him, and if people don't believe in him, they more likely planning for the future for the fixtures against Burnley and Slavia and Sunderland after. So that would be it for the Arsenal players if I was to be considering Arsenal. Man City, I ain't gonna waste too much time talking about Man City players. Erling Haaland is 7.9 million. Scored again this game week. Scored 2 goals this game week. And he's just on fine form. They got Aston Villa and Swansea, more likely to be rested against Swansea. But he's got 18 goals and 2 assists so far this season. And Aston Villa have kept 1 clean sheet in the last 5 games, or should I say make it 6, because they conceded also and lost by 2 in Europa this game week. So, and as for Swansea are winless in the last 3 games in the Championship. So I'm not too sure if he will feature, but listen, he's got ownership of 65.5%. He's in top form. It's definitely the potential for game week captain. Not too sure if I want to deviate from not having Haaland, because he could just do the business in the 1 game. So it's actually worth considering. And then, yeah, the other players at Man City, I'm not too sure. Foden, Doku, Raj, Niders, they've been in poor form. O'Reilly's been in decent form. Pep's been doing a lot of rotation, so I'm not too sure. So let's just stick with Haaland, because we do know that certainly we will be playing against Aston Villa. If I was to go to Liverpool, the main man, the guy who's been in crazy form this game week, Cody GAKPO, he's 27 points, scored a total of 76 points, is averaging 6.9 points. He scored 2 goals and 1 assist last game week. He's got 4 goals in the last 3 games. Brentford have only kept 1 clean sheet at home this season, and they're facing Brentford away. And the Palace have 1 clean sheet in 5 games, or should I say 6 again. And in total, GAKPO scored 4 goals and 3 assists so far this season, and should he be having a price increase of 300k if you do bring him in. So he's one that I'm really probably looking into. Although I do notice that he performs in patches. Prior to this last 2 game weeks, he had blanked in 4 games. And the cons of bringing him in is that Brentford have actually got a good home record with only 1 loss this season. And Palace are unbeaten in 2 games versus Liverpool. But GAKPO has got ownership of 9.4%. He's also one I'll be considering as an outside chance for captain this game week, because I do see him featuring against Brentford and Palace. That's what I do see. But just to know that the games ahead for Liverpool are not so easy. With, I think, is it Aston Villa and Madrid away? Am I correct? Let me just get that up again. Yeah, am I correct? Is it Aston Villa and Madrid? I think it's Aston Villa and Madrid. Sorry, guys, just to keep you waiting there. Yeah, it's Villa and Madrid, so I was correct. So yeah, moving on anyway. If you were thinking of someone else to get, alternative to GAKPO, I would say EKITIKE. We know Isak got injured with a hamstring injury. Slot did say he's got a hammy, but we don't know how long it will be out for. He scored 12 points this game week, but he looked impressive with a beautiful goal he scored. He scored a total of 60 points. He's averaging 5.5 points per game. So like I said on here, Isak injured, so a prolonged starting position at Liverpool, and he's currently got 6 goals and 1 assist so far this season. He should be going about 100k. So he's got ownership of 9.4. So that means people are not too sure about him, and we do understand with the rotation. So who do we bring in, GAKPO or Isak? That is one that I would leave you guys to ponder. But equally, I think both players will be starting both games, and yeah, just need I say more. I don't fancy to have 2 strikers from the same teams, but both players have been in great form, so it's your pick. It's your pick right now. If I was to I'll probably edge towards GAKPO because he's slightly in form. He's made that left position his bet. EKITIKE, will be playing, but they might probably, swap him out for a Chiesa who could play on the wings, and then GAKPO in the middle, like we saw midweek against Frankfurt. So yeah, I'll probably lean towards GAKPO if anything, anyway. But that's just my choice. And then moving on from Liverpool, because Liverpool do concede goals, and I thought about Szoboszlai, but just not consistent enough for me, because like I said, once again, he scores in patches, so I'm not too sure Can't be risking it right now at this point in time. I can't be risking it at this point in time. I need to get my points and to get my team moving up the scoreboard, as you could see. But yeah, I'll be going to Chelsea, and the man that comes into mind is Moses CAICEDO. Is 4.9 million. Should be going up by 100k, or probably wouldn't go up anyway. Might just stay the same price. But he's got a total of 78 points. He's got 2 goals in his last 3 games with a staggering 14 bonus points. And then, you know, Chelsea have got some good fixtures ahead, and he's got ownership of 20.8%. Do you imagine? For a defensive midfielder in the game, that is quite impressive. So that shows you he's been in great form, getting amongst the goals. The cons to this, that although Chelsea are playing what we would do consider as an easy game on paper with Sunderland and Wolves, they are the cons to that is that Sunderland have kept 3 clean sheets in 5 games, and he might get arrested against Wolves, so that would be the downside to him bringing him in. But I do know game week 10, Chelsea have got Spurs and Karabag and Wolves in game week 11, so these are kind of easy fixtures for Chelsea to win, should I say. And alternatively, if you don't want to bring in Salcedo because it's expensive, then you could go for Enzo Fernandez, 4.7 million. He's got a total of 69 points. Is the main penalty taker. And yeah, so it's between those two really, if you are going to bring in a player for Chelsea. And Enzo looked like he didn't have no injuries affecting him when he played midweek, so that is one that you want to consider this game week. Also, our Cucurella is 4.8. I would say him also. I know Sunderland have scored only 1 away goal in 4 games, so more likelihood of Chelsea keeping a clean sheet. And Wolves are winless this season in the Premier League and berate of confidence. So, yeah, so that should lean towards Chelsea getting a clean sheet. Once again, the cons to that is that Sunderland have scored 4 goals in 5 games, so they're averaging a goal per game, should you say. And Wolves have scored 5 goals in 5 games. He's got ownership of 17.5%, so that means he's backed by quite a lot of people. And yeah, he's one that you could consider in your team. And then now I would go to Newcastle. And the first guy on my mind would be Nick WOLTAMEDE. He's got 4.5 million. Should be got up by 100k. He's got 4 goals in 5 games. He scored against Brighton, but not against Benfica. He's got a total of 53 points, averaging 5.9 points per game. They face Fulham and Tottenham, and Fulham are winless in 3 games and have conceded 8 goals in 5 games, so 7 in the last 3. So that's crazy. And Tottenham have only kept 1 clean sheet in the last 5 games. So that would be the pros to bringing in Nick WOLTAMEDE. The cons today blanked in the last game for Newcastle against Benfica, like I mentioned earlier, and Tottenham kept a clean sheet last game, so that might be an upturn. So who knows? He's got ownership of 17.1%. Once again, it shows great backing. And I would say, yes, he's in top form. 4 goals in 5 games, not that bad. The only thing is he doesn't get the doubles, but it's pretty much consistent, just getting a goal per game, should I say, lately. If not, you could look at Gordon, who's slightly more expensive in midfield. He scored 18 points this last game week with 1 goal and 1 assist in the last game week. He's got 3 goals and 1 assist in the last 4 game weeks. And I've just mentioned earlier about Fulham being winless in 3 games, and I've considered 8 goals in 5, 7 in the last 3. He should be going up in price by 200k, so he's worth keeping. If you do have him, or try worth bringing him in for the fixtures ahead. And he's got ownership of 11%. So that shows that it's not really backed. So I've got my quarter in my head with regards to why, how I pick players. So I say a player under 10%. It's still unknown. Player between 10 to 15, is noticed between 15 and 20. Is being backed from 20 to 30. It shows that, is a good pick and backed by many people. It's a strong choice. And then anything after that, shows is the player that you must have in your team, more or less. So yeah, he's one that you could also consider. I'll probably say keeping your team for the price increase as well. And we've got Nick Pope in defence for Newcastle. I don't really much scout goalkeepers, but he's the best goalkeeper in the game right now. He's got 74 points. Last game week, 14 points. Newcastle have got 3 clean sheets in 5 games. He's, like I did mention, is the best keeper in the game. You know, and you know, Tottenham are struggling for goals at this point in time. So I will say Nick Pope is a good shout, and the Newcastle defense, you know, with Burn and Trippier, and you know, but he's the standout guy for me. So if your team is quite strong and you've got problems in the goalkeeping department, then I would probably say him. I would probably say him, and he's got ownership of 8.5%. And I think the only deterrent here is that he's a bit expensive, but they've kept quite a lot of clean sheets, so it could be where people heavily invest in the future. And I do see Newcastle doing well against West Ham, Bilbao, and Brentford in the future as well. So, yeah, is one that you could also look at. And then finally, I would say Jean Mateta for Newcastle. He's 4.5 million. He's got a hat-trick last game week. Didn't score tonight against AEK. And I know that they're facing Arsenal, and we know Arsenal have kept 4 clean sheets in a row. But it's Liverpool that maybe if he does start, he could fancy himself, as Liverpool have conceded in the last 5 games, and a goal per game in the last 5 games. So he's got ownership of 11.6%. Once again, it shows that he's just starting to get noticed with the hat trick, which makes sense. And I've put him in top form, but just for the fact that he's got a hat trick, so that just elevates him to a top form player. But I'm not so sure about him this game week, I'll be very honest, because he's facing Arsenal and Liverpool. Those are 2 tough fixtures. But listen, Crystal Palace are unbeaten against Liverpool in the last 2 games, so that is definitely worth considering if you are thinking of, you know, Jean Mateta. Now, to come to my team, just to have a quick recap on my team. Vicario did his thing, saving Spurs, making tons of saves upon tons of saves. 8 saves, got 12 points. Cucurella got the 1 clean sheet, playing the 1 game. I was screening him play against Ajax. Konsa didn't even feature against Villa tonight, and they got punished. Van der Ven kept the clean sheet, although they were poor last game against Villa. And then Calafiori kept the 1 clean sheet, and I saw his minutes got limited because of Skelly. Golden did his thing. Saka did his thing. The Man City assets are really let downs for me, and definitely one of them would be saying bye-bye. I don't know who, between Rajdaz or Doku, if I could get rid of both. But then I'm quite aware that Konsa has got 1 game as well to play, and Kudus has got 1 game to play. So I did Salah 12-man right now, and he's not going to feature next game week for me. So I'm not too sure who I want to pick between the strikers, but I do know if I was to take out Konsa, I'll be looking into bringing an informed man in one of the Liverpool strikers, and that would be probably GAKPO. And then that would see me take off Rajdaz to fund that, and you know, and that leaves me short with regards to my midfield, and because I really want to get a double Arsenal defender in there, but they're just so expensive. So it's 2 ways to look at it. Do I go for the Arsenal guaranteed, more or less almost pretty guaranteed clean sheet, but then I wouldn't have a player like GAKPO? Then that would probably force me to get maybe a WOLTAMEDE, or I don't even want to say Pedro at Chelsea because he's been out of form. But yeah, so it's one that I really have to think about. If I go for the Arsenal defense, then I can't get a great strike force, and if I go for a good strike force, then I'll be stuck with Arsenal defender and just the 1 Calafiori who might play just the 1 game. And maybe I need to start thinking about the future with Arsenal in defense for the next games. But once again, hopefully these players that I've selected this game week might be of help to you guys this game week. But yes, as you could see, scored 158 points this game week. I've got a total of 824. Not the best at this point in time, but yeah, it is what it is. Dream Team Scout, over and out.